How are you? It's so great to have you today. Huge news yesterday with Jimmy Schultz signing. Tell us about Jimmy Schultz, what we should know about this.
Yeah, you know, he's an offensive defenseman out of St. Cloud State, guys, that had a great career at St. Cloud, was their all-time leading scorer among defensemen, 3-year captain. He played the last game of last regular season for the Golden Knights. I don't know if you remember, they did this a couple of years ago with Zach Whitecloud when they signed him out of college. Played a game late in the season just to get a game under his belt. They did it with Jimmy Schultz last year.
And had an assist.
Yeah. And, you know, as we kind of watched that game, he got more comfortable as the game went on. We were talking to him a little bit about it yesterday. Yeah. He felt more relaxed. So, you know, we'll see where it goes from here. It's, you know, the rookie camp started yesterday. The main camp starts next Thursday. So for him and for a lot of the younger guys, there's a ways to go, but opportunity to say the least.
Yeah.
So these preseason games, they're going to be crucial for some of the younger guys. Tell us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tanya. Here's the thing. To me, like, they're in year 3 of the franchise now. So I think they'd like to see some of these younger guys earn jobs. You know, that's up to them. But I do think maybe it's time for some of the younger blood to take some spots. Somebody like a Cody Glass, who had a real good playoff last year with the Chicago Wolves in the American League. They have a core of players that were part of a team that went to the Calder Cup final in the AHL last year. So Cody Glass, Nick Hague, Dylan Coughlin, Zach Whitecloud, you can go right on down the line. So there are some spots to be won. Some players have moved on via trade or free agency from the team. That's kind of the way it goes, but it also opens up the doors potentially for some other guys to take their spots.
This is kind of a new sensation for us in Vegas because, you know, it's that indigestion when you lose perhaps one of your favorite players. Like, well, no, you have to stay.
You're supposed to stay here forever.
This is normal, though. This is like, you know, it's bound to happen. Let's talk about the season ahead. Obviously, we got a little bit of at least the fans, we got a massive chip on our shoulder after how last season ended.
Absolutely.
What does the schedule look like? Is there going to be a difficult stretch, an easy stretch?
They've got you know, I think it's one of those where they've got this, it's weird a little bit. You get into like the new year or right around the holidays into the new year, I think they play 7 in a row at home and then 8 in a row on the road. The bye week's in the middle of it. Then they play 9 out of 10 at home. I think those stretches, I think any coach would tell you, is probably too much of both. Yeah. I think they'd like to have it a little more balanced out. By the end of the day, I mean, I think last year, Sean, it's interesting. Year 1 was such a, you know, they took off like a rocket. Really never looked back. Yeah. Last year was more normal.
The first 20 games were a little rough. The last 20 were rough, and the middle were solid.
Yeah, it was more of a roller coaster, which I think most teams go through, unless you're like Tampa Bay in the regular season last year, which, you know,
which didn't matter
once you got to the playoffs. But you know, last year's team really kind of, when they made the Mark Stone trade, that was a huge catalyst for them, and then they were poised to make a decent run until we all know what happened. So I think they feel like they're built to win again this year. And hopefully, you know, we'll see what happens over the next several months.
Nice. You guys, George has done such a great team building. And talk about, you guys just had your golf tournament, your charity tournament. How'd you do?
My team was not very good. I'm just kidding. I gave him grief on the course. I was going to make a trade halfway through, but I couldn't do it. I think we finished 9
was on
under.
Your team?
Well, we some great people from MGM Grand. And
but you finished under.
Oh yeah, well it's a scramble. Good. If you're not finishing under in a scramble, you should probably go take up tennis or something, you know. So, but no, it was great, and more importantly, it raised over $300,000 for the Golden Knights Foundation. So, and they dispersed that throughout the community. So, but it was great. You know, we were over at TPC Summerlin, and they're starting to do a lot of the build-in for the Shriners tournament coming up in about a month. So it was kind of cool to pretend you tip your cap to people not watching you.
Yes,
Thanks.
Exactly.
Good bogey.
I love what you guys do in the community, and even during the off season, you have such a strong presence.
Well, and you know, we were talking a little bit earlier about our team president, Kerry Buboltz, and he says, you know, hockey's a contact sport, and so it's, you know, community's a contact sport. I think it's one thing to go to T-Mobile and have it be sold out through the roof every night.
Of course,
There's a lot more to it than that, you know, and I think players and the organization takes pride in being involved in the community and growing this game. I mean, it's crazy to think about it, guys. 2 years ago at this time, they had not played a game.
Right.
Truth.
And now it's been off the charts ever since then, so hopefully that continues.
My son is 2.5. He was born like 6 hours after the team was named. He went to every game the first season. He now does the player announcements he does that while I'm giving him a bath. Like, he will be a hockey player. It's bound to happen.
Or a play-by-play announcer.
Or a play-by-play.
So he's 2.5, so I've got another.
You got 20 years.
Well, maybe 16 if he's
we'll
one
start
of
him
those
in the
prodigies.
AHL. We'll see what we can get.
That's great.
It's so great to have you. Shane Knighty, by the way, looking svelte in the offseason.
Yeah, he's on this vigorous training program. It's some training. He's much more disciplined than I am.
It's all right. The food on the road is so good. It's great having you, my friend.
Pleasure.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Vegas
you.
Golden Knights. By the way, for the first season ever, Every preseason game will be televised. It'll be right here on Channel 13.
Nice.
Gets underway September 15th against the Arizona Coyotes. It wraps up with a preseason game against those who shall not be named.
Who are those?
September 29th. 7 games in all. Tickets are still available. Go to vegasgoldenknights.com for more information. The team's all over social. Next week, we're going to introduce you to one of the new ringside reporters. Stormy, how do you pronounce her last name?
Bonantoni.
You got it.
Bonantoni.
Bonantoni.
Okay.
There we go. We're good. That's from the mouth of Dave Goucher himself.
Awesome.
That's how you know it's real.